Welcome there, Frisbee family. We are firing up the OTB podcast studios once again for another edition of Morning Round with Greggy Biscuits. I'm Greggy Biscuits, and I am joined today with the one and only, the natural, the one they call Connor O'Reilly. How we doing, Connor?
You know, a little better now that I'm seeing your face, even if it's through a tiny little camera thumbnail. But hey, it's good to be here. Always feels
I
like
know.
home when I'm with you guys at OTB, and we definitely miss seeing you.
Yeah, I like being out on the road with the family there, the crew. You know, keeping vibes high, and yeah, we're just kind of
I
keeping
mean,
it going
no one
here.
keeps the vibes high better than Greggy B.
We're going for higher vibes. Well, thank you for those kind words, Connor. How you feeling, man? You look good. You got your official backdrop there. I guess we can start off by saying congratulations and happy Vlogmas.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm feeling great. It's been really refreshing and exciting, energizing to have this new partnership. And so far, Vlogmas has been rolling, and we've had some good viewership so far, and a lot of new viewers and kind of new interactions. And it's been so much fun to learn the plastic while I kind of try to play these courses and still try to play some entertaining disc golf, even though I'm still kind of figuring out some of the discs. But it's really surprised me how quickly I've kind of found a liking or confidence in certain of the molds here at Lone Star.
Mm-hmm. What are you really liking so far? I definitely know you're getting into the different molds. They have a lot of molds to choose from. I think they're up to what 327 molds. Not
No,
quite. No, they're in.
they're definitely in like
They
the
have enough.
40s or something at least. Yeah, they're getting up there. I mean, I think in the past people have been like, oh, they only have overstable options or they only have understable, but I feel like they truly kind of have a full lineup at this point, and they're only going to keep adding more discs to that. That'll just kind of fit the specificity player a little bit more, because we all like a straight flyer, but some people like a straight flyer with less dome or with a certain wing shape in the hand. And so, I mean, in terms of the molds I've been liking, putter wise, the blue bonnet has just been, it has such a dependable fade, and it's the right height in my hand when I grab it. And
Mhm.
it's really surprised me. I thought there'd be more of a learning curve with that, but the stability has forced me to commit on my putts. And I mean, I feel like my putting percentage has been higher learning a new putter, which is kind of weird. Usually, you expect some kind of latency period where you're not really seeing the results, but it's been great so far with the blue bonnet. Throwing wise, putter on the putters, the penny putter is just like
Mhm.
such a money straight flyer. I can manipulate that disc to do so many things, and I keep feeling like that's going to be my first Vlogmas Ace disc, but who knows?
You
It's
throw
it's
that?
still
How about that
it's been
glow penny?
eluding me. But yeah,
You
no,
got a glow.
I got the glow one mixed in, and I got the alpha one. The glow one's kind of been coming in and out of my bag depending on if I want to throw multiple
Mhm.
pennies on whatever course I'm at. But yeah, the alpha one's really been a go-to. The glow one's a little bit softer, so different finish. The horny toad has been fantastic. It's opened up some shots that I couldn't throw with my approach discs in the past, especially mainly for forehand.
Mhm.
Because I can pump that thing hard and flat and get a dead straight flight out of it with a consistent small finish, even up to like the 300-foot range or so, which is a shot I didn't really have in my bag with my
Mhm.
other approach discs. And mid-range wise, the Texas Rangers kind of snuck up on me as I knew I'd like the MIDI. Heard a lot of good
Mhm.
stuff about that. The
Yep.
Walker, just one of those predictable discs that everyone knows that they can utilize. Whereas the Ranger, I didn't really foresee myself falling in love with, but I really have taken a liking to that
That's
disc.
kind of the neutral flight. Neg one
Yep,
on the right.
yeah,
Yep.
super neutral, kind of your classic straight flying mid-range. You can get it to
So
hyzer, you can get it to go straight, get it to drift to the right. So
is that kind of filling the
um,
slot of the Claymore a little bit, or Compass?
it's definitely kind of like beat up trust kind of is what I'm finding out of it. Like my old pink Throjo's beat up trust is kind of how that's flying for me. So that's been a pleasant surprise. And then the fairway drivers took me a little bit more time.
I know
Obviously,
you like a good fairway. I know
The
you like a good
chupacabra is
9-speed.
like, yeah,
What's the
no,
9-speed?
the fairway
Yeah.
is. See, yeah, I'm still figuring out whether I like the 7 speeds or the 9 speeds. Kind of trying to replace that Explorer that I used to throw a bunch. And right now, it seems like the Frio. The more I throw the Frio, it's starting to kind of become that. I'm still figuring out exactly my angles and my heights that I need to throw it with, but I
Has
feel like that's
Robert
a
told
mold
you the
that
secret of the Mockingbird yet?
he's definitely. I've seen him throw it, and I do have a Mockingbird in the bag. I'm still kind of figuring out the angles on that one, but it like when I need a disc just to hold really easily for big fairway distance, moving from the left to the right, it's kind of what I'm reaching on right now, and I haven't had a ton of those shots filming Vlogmas
Hmm.
yet, so I know there'll be times though where the Mockingbird is going to be kind of the right disc for a shot. So that one is in the bag.
But
Like I
you were
said, the
saying you like the
Chupacabra.
Frio?
Yeah, no, Frio I'm liking. I think the more I throw it, the more I'm going to learn it. There's a new disc, the Wrangler, that it's kind of more of that 9 speed that I think I'm really going to like that one as well. I have one, the prototypes, that's really good at hyzer flipping, and I just threw a couple new ones yesterday. They're a little more stable, kind of going to be your Honor Thunderbird kind of disc.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I heard AJ
Chupacabra is,
allude to that one, and that was a new mold for
yeah,
me. So I was excited
AJ's
to hear what the
loving that.
Wrangler was going
Yeah,
to be.
he's been kind of. I know at the Lone Star Disc Championship a couple weeks ago, he played really well and kind of pushed for a win for a moment, and he was throwing a lot of the Wrangler and kind of in place of the distance drivers just to offer a little bit more control at the end of the flight, a little bit less skip. And they just came out with a spur, which is kind of filling the gap between like the Brazos and the Chupacabra, because the Chupacabra is trustworthy, but you really can't get much distance off that thing. It's the next
Hmm.
most overstable disc behind like the Tilt, honestly, in that
So
9-10
beefy.
category. I have to like
I'm,
full throw that thing to get like 310 out of it. So
I,
the
I
spur
remember
has
the
been a
first time
godsend.
the Chupacabra came down, and before I even threw, I'm like, oh, this already hurts my arm.
Yeah, people always, you hear people tell you about a disc, but until you truly throw one, it's hard to really gauge how stable it is. And moving to the distance drivers, I feel like I pretty quickly found confidence in the Warbird, almost like a bump up from the old Rives I was throwing, a little
Mm,
more
a little,
overstability, so I can
little more
really
stable,
trust on
yeah.
them. Yeah, I can
Hmm.
find the flatter ones; they're going to be straighter. I can hyzer flip those, whereas the Domi kind of classic Domi ones are, especially in the alpha plastic, like there's no hyzer flip in those things until you beat them up for a couple years. It's hitting them flat,
Hmm.
hitting them on a little bit of flex. And then my final kind of driver has been, or I guess I just put the Tombstone in the other day, kind of flatter, more overstable, like 13 speed, mainly for some forehand shots,
Hmm.
because the other 13 speed I've been throwing, the Seguin, it's kind of PD2 esque, but it's got a big dome on it, so it fits the backhand a little better for me. But yeah, really
Hmm.
a full lineup here. I've been loving everything. Tumbleweed for some rollers. I've thrown some long rollers already with that one, so I
We're,
feel
we're
like
gonna
I'm
need
slowly but
we're gonna
surely
need the
figuring
big
it out.
bag, folks.
Yeah,
Big
no, I
bag for
mean,
Vlogmas.
so that Seguin was, like I said, kind of the PD2 esque disc for me. Just no guesswork with that thing. It's gonna fade. Just a matter of how much flex I put on it or how much I want it to
Mhm.
skip off to the left. And I mean, they have some of the best stiff plastic in the game, and I feel like my discs are
So
going to
you're
take a
liking the
long
alpha.
time to beat in. I do. I like the Alpha. There wasn't a ton of the Charlie stuff in stock when I was picking out my first batch of discs.
Okay.
So I think the Founders and the Charlie stuff I'll definitely start to add into my bag as I get my hands on them. But for
Hmm.
now, the Alpha it's been good for sure. It's definitely, I think some of the Charlie and some of the Founders has a little more grip, but
Hmm.
Alpha just has that supreme kind of stiffness to it.
And then no, are you messing with any of the Bravo on the drivers?
I actually just grabbed a Bravo Warbird a minute ago to kind of start testing out. I grabbed a couple blanks so I can get some more Pokemon dies done up for me and get some more stuff back in the bag. So there are some runs to Bravo that's kind of a mix between the classic Bravo and Alpha, and I think a lot of people who don't love the stiffness of the Alpha are really gonna, but think the Bravos maybe a little too givey for them, and will really love some certain runs of Bravo come out real nice. So I think I'm gonna start trying some more out, especially for certain molds.
And I've noticed that, and I think this has been confirmed. The Bravo is a little stiffer than it used to be too.
Yeah,
Not
that seems like
not
what
quite
they've
as
been telling
gummy.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, per feedback, and that's another thing I do like about Lone Star is they're not afraid to try stuff, right? And they're
yeah,
gonna try and cover all of these bases in a wide range of skill level players' bags. But as you're describing, you're finding utility out of a lot of these different discs. You're gonna shape it down to your core, kind of tools. But it is interesting that you can kind of find a lot of flight characteristics across the different molds that they have right now.
yeah, for sure. And I think that openness to feedback is really really attractive to me. Having a company that you can go tell them, hey, you know what, this disc is great, but like we get it a little altered or whatever, and with their ability to create their molds in house and kind of cut some
Hmm.
costs on some of that, they don't see, as long as they see a use for it and it's not a mold that already feels saturated or a slot that feels saturated. I mean, Terry and the guys are very willing to listen to your needs, and most of the time we'll end up getting it done for you.
Shout out to Big T over there, making things happen in Texas.
Oh yeah.
And you're a Texas guy, raised in the Austin area, so I'm sure you're proud to be representing the great state of there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all have our, regardless of how kind of conscious we are and how much of a world being we are, we all have a little bit of that hometown bias or that hometown love, and I think Texas is such a big booming market and it's a great disc golf market. So I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer to come work with the only Texas manufacturer as of right now, and the only people making plastic here in Texas. It's good to have that U.S. made product, and people like
Hmm.
like buying local. And like you said, the family feel and just the responsiveness to feedback has been the biggest thing for me. And I've always tried to make myself very available media wise for anyone who I partner with, and as well as
Hmm.
just for my own brand and my own self. And having someone who is eager to work with me on that front is really refreshing for me. So I don't just feel like I'm doing all this work, but not really able
Hmm.
to collaborate and share the work that I'm doing the way that I want to. So it's been really refreshing on that end.
And we know you're gonna flex the socials for them, and you're gonna do your part to promote the product as you always have. So I'm sure they're very happy to have you there as part of the team. Describe the team a little bit. Describe player movement a little bit this offseason. I feel like it's been a little quiet. Carter Aaron's signing with Lone Star, yourself signing with Lone Star, a couple people leaving their contracts, but I still think we're waiting for some bigger moves to happen.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of shakeup. There's definitely, I think Lone Star's kind of starting to gain a better perspective on the value of the market, and they're kind of making some moves based off of that. And I don't know all the things I'm allowed to divulge at the moment, but there's definitely, a couple of players who won't be returning next season. And
This is where Josh is on the side of the camera going
in,
like there.
in terms of any new additions, I won't spill the beans on anything that's in the works. And I think, um, regardless, I think Lone Star's on a good track, and they're only what 4 years into the game,
Oh
and
yeah.
they've already kind of really jumped up in market share in a pretty good way. And I'm really excited for this partnership to try to grow our brands both
Hmm.
individually and together.
That's exciting stuff. So I guess looking back on 2023, you're all done with your tournament schedule at this point.
Yeah.
How did you feel about 2023 in terms of growth as a player, and then where you're headed for in 2024?
Whew. Greg, well, more than anyone, you're very up to date. We chat almost every tournament or almost after every round, at least. Whether you reach out to me and I'm salty about how I played or whatever it is. I think we're pretty on board with the communication. But yeah, this 2023 was pretty disappointing for me, just mentally as a player. I mean, I feel like physically my form is more efficient than ever. I'd argue I have better speed than I've ever had. My game planning and just my kind of being on my third year, starting to have kind of some of that veteran mind, and that the game kind of slowing down for me in
Hmm.
ways. It was very frustrating to not really put down the consistent year that I was hoping to. Kind of
Hmm.
squeaked into my tour card there at the end. Kind of buckled down the last few tournaments and finished the season on a strong note, which I felt like I kind of, just there's some personal stuff, some relationship stuff with a previous sponsor just kind of stressed me out throughout the last two seasons, really. And the past season, it really kind of got to me. I felt like, I tell people I felt like I was on the course with like six bags on my shoulders, and I'd make a mistake, and it felt like, oh, like it just felt like I couldn't come back from it in a way. And it's not a good place to be as a competitor when you're trying to,
Hmm.
maximize your potential and trying to just frame everything as positive as you can, because that's such a sport that if you can really work towards like that positive framing to the umpteenth degree, even if it feels kind of corny or unrealistic to you at the time, I think it's important,
Hmm.
because I think it takes not only hard work but good circumstances to put yourself in the position to get out there and try to compete for a win. And um, yeah, but like I said, I feel like my game is physically at an all-time high, and I know that when my mind is in the right spot, I'm going to be able to jump right back up to playing
Hmm.
some top level disc golf. And I mean, I know we talked about it, but I saw it was kind of cool to see that I was in the top 10 in birdies scored in the last three seasons. And even though I've had
Right.
some tough stretches and some bad holes that I've kind of negated some of those birdies, I've shown the flashes of that hot golf that I know I can play. And I mean, even this season, I feel like I had a lot of tournaments where I had one really good round and then kind of
Hmm.
some okay rounds, or I'd have one really scorching nine holes where I kind of blank out, and then just I let one mistake kind of be like, oh man, like the round's gone. So I think having a little bit less stress and a little bit more of a
Mhm.
just feeling more supported this season, I think is going to really help me mentally just to go focus on what I need to do to prepare as a player. And I'm the type of guy, if I don't feel like I'm putting in the amount of time that I want to be
Mhm.
the player that I can be, then I kind of take it out on myself in a way. And I kind of, as soon as I make a mistake, maybe I feel undeserving because I'm like, oh, well, you didn't do all those things that would make you feel good about, you last night you didn't get your 30 minutes to an hour of recovery in. So like, why do you deserve to
Mhm.
play good? So I think, I can be
Mhm.
hard on myself, and that's part of what's got me to the point I'm at as quickly as I did. But I think it's also something that I'm learning to be better at over time and
Mhm.
be forgiving to myself. But also, I'm recognizing, I'm 31 years old and my time in disc golf is now. And, unapologetically this season, I think I'm going to go after it, and I'm going to do everything I need to get myself ready to
Mhm.
play. And whatever that means. It might be I have to sacrifice some stuff in my personal life to create that extra time that I've always tried to give myself. But I think I feel a refocus kind of coming this season, and a rededication
Mhm.
that I think is gonna kind of get me off this little plateau I feel like I've been on the last 2 seasons, and kind of continue on that upward rise that I have been on.
Yeah, we know golf creates stressful situations, and that's why we love it, right? Because it's handling that strategy, handling that difficulty, and then using our preparation and our skills, obviously, to attack it. And so, when you couple that with the outside pressure or the uncomfortability of, man, I just don't know. I got too much things that are uncertain in my life.
Yeah.
So clearing your mind and having a short memory, such important characteristics for all great athletes and especially golfers, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a, it is a physical game, but it's so mental. Like, if your shot preparation isn't what you need, or like I said, you're not preparing off the course the way you want, it leaks over.
Hmm.
Some players can kind of, they don't need to practice as much as I feel like I do, or put in as much time, because like I'm one of those players who's always kind of trying to tinker and find the best way to
Hmm.
do something. And early in my career, I was always kind of taking things from other players and trying to learn. But I feel like now I'm at the point where it's just like, okay, like, what things do I do well? What things do I need to get a little better
Right.
at? And I think putting is one of those things that I need to just be a little bit more focused, a little bit. I think I kind of carried a lot of stress on the putting green this season. I think just making, because I've always kind of thrown the disc pretty well. I've always kind of been, when I play well, like, I usually tee to green and am pretty strong in the field, usually up there. Like, I've had plenty of tournaments where this season, even where I was top 20, top 10 in throwing stats, and
Hmm.
then my putting was 110th or something. And so all of a sudden I'm just outside the cash, whereas like make two more putts around, one more putt around, all of a sudden
Hmm.
that's 6 strokes, 9 strokes, 12 strokes throughout a tournament, where now all of a sudden I'm right there, kind of more in the mix where I'd like to be.
Yeah, because it's that game of inches, and having caddied for you and seen a lot of your rounds up close and personal, it's it's a lot of skill. It's a little bit of luck, but it's such a mental game. So
Yeah, truly.
we're excited to see you refocus, and that's an interesting opportunity with the brand. The sponsorships change, the bag switch. Again, just get realigned with everything that's your strengths, which we know you have plenty of. Uh, but yeah, we're looking forward. We're happy. It's the
Yeah.
holiday season. Talk to me about being back in Texas and celebrating Vlogmas.
It's been nice. I mean, like I said, this Vlogmas has been, I feel like the first 2 years, we're kind of just laying the groundwork for continued growth, and, packing layers on the snowball. But it feels like this year it's starting to come a little bit quicker, and the viewership's gone way up. And I don't know, a lot of people
Hmm.
have given us great positive feedback. I mean, pretty much every comment has been really positive and really uplifting, and that's always nice. Obviously, you always want to hold yourself to the highest standard, and you don't want to rely on outside kind of sources to give you that good feeling or that confidence. But it's natural. We're all humans. Like,
Hmm.
someone says, "Oh my God, Connor's the king of Vlogmas," something like that. Like, you're like, okay, I know I need to get better still, but it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, okay, the stuff I'm doing is worth it. And yeah, Megan's been great helping me film it and edit it, and trying to stay ahead. We've filmed, I think, like 13 days now, so we're working a little bit ahead of it. And yeah, it's
Best
definitely,
producer in disc golf. Shout out Megan.
yeah, it's kind of yeah, it's kind of all consuming over the last 2 weeks or so since we started it. I mean, once I
Hmm.
wasn't sure that I was gonna do it. Just feeling a little bit burnt out on my last
Mm-hmm.
partnership. And so as soon as I knew that we could get an extra month on the and
Mm-hmm.
tack in that December into next year's contract with Lone Star, it was really I was like, okay, like we're gonna jump on this right now, and we're kind of trying to hit some of the courses we haven't hit in past years Vlogmas,
Okay.
and try to spread a little bit of that love out. So that's kind of been our focus. But eventually, you kind of get to the point where it's like, all right, we got to hit the whatever the good course is, even if you've already hit it. But we're down here in Houston right now, hanging out and filming some courses in this area.
There's
Yesterday, I had
a few
Josh.
fun courses down there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some
Conroe's
decent
got a
options. I
decent little
feel.
course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they got McDade, right? McDade, which is
Yep.
what we played yesterday. That'll be day 13. We'll have Josh Hofstra on as the guest there. So we did a fun little format where whoever won the previous hole, the other player got that many strokes that they lost by mulligans for the next hole. So it was a fun little way to try to
Oh,
even it out. And I won't spoil how it went for you guys, but let's just say no, we won't say
well,
anything.
we know Hofstra can sling it. Come on, he's been holding out on
Josh has some
everybody.
power. I think
He can
I
smash
think if
it
Josh cleans up his short game, I mean, there's no reason he can't pop 1,000 right around here and there. He's got some power. Strong guy.
for sure. Large hat.
Yeah,
Strong hat game.
for sure. No, and it's funny because I won that I think 2 years ago. I played a GK skins match, and one of the CTP prizes was a big cowboy hat, and
Nice.
it's always been too small for my head to wear, so it's just sitting at the house somewhere. And now, now maybe I need to get it resized and be out there
There you go.
rocking the cowboy hat, Lone
Stretch
Star
that bad
style.
boy out, Connor. It's time to go 10-gallon.
At least for Vlogmas, we need to bust it out. But
Right.
your
And
comment about the budget beard was I was rolling on the floor. Your
I
ability
didn't.
to somehow respond to everything in the most perfect way, regardless of the topic or the situation, it just always has. I've always been envious of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Timing is everything, Connor. And again, I'm ready for our rematch. Whenever Ella and Raven want to get some.
Oh yeah, no, we'll
We'll-
definitely get that going at some point this season. Yeah, like, once Vlogmas is done, I'll start branching off and doing other types of videos, and I want to do more personable stuff this year as well, not just the practice rounds, but also kind of here's what I like to do, set myself
Mhm.
up for a tournament, or here's how whatever it might be. I know I did like one episode of like, or I think I did like an Instagram video of like cooking with Connor or something. So like silly stuff like that. I think
Mhm.
people enjoy. People
More
get to see
lifestyle
you as a
content.
character, and they get to relate to you in a different way than Connor throws 550 feet. Like I can't quite do that, but it's like, oh no, like
Mhm.
Connor likes to make the same food that I really like to eat all the time. Like I think trying to share a little bit more of who I am as a person, as well as just be kind of throwing shots and talking the game. Because I mean, I love being informational. I love not only sharing the game with other people, but playing it in front of an audience. So I think trying to balance it out a little bit with the content.
Well, you're always very professional with your approach to everything, and I think the other players respond to that in a good way, in the sense that you're like kind of raising the bar of like how people can act and play the game, and like you said, it's just a matter of time because you can do all the work, and you see guys on the PGA tour that will play for years, and then it's just that one weekend where everything comes together, right, and it snaps. And we don't want it to be one weekend; we want it to be
Yeah,
often
no, but
that
like you
that
said,
we're
man,
getting
one weekend
dubs.
can change the trajectory of stuff. And I've always kind of taken it on myself as a player. I came in the game, kind of new school guy. Only been in the game
Hmm.
less than 8 years, so I've been in the game since it's been on a upward kind of professionalism trajectory. But I've always tried to kind of be what I want the future of the game to be, and whether or not me tucking my shirt in and wearing nice clothes like makes me the most
Hmm.
comfortable, the most whatever on the course. That doesn't matter to me. I want the viewer. I don't want a single viewer to see me on the course and be like, oh, that guy doesn't look like he cares about his job, or he doesn't.
Hmm.
These disc golfers don't. It's just a casual thing. Like, and I think there's a lot of
Right.
pros who still kind of skate that line. Like, oh, I'm allowed to wear basketball shorts and this type of shirt based off the rules. Like, okay, I'm going to do it. Whereas to me, it's like
Hmm.
I'm trying to kind of get some reform done on certain parts of the rules. And like, yeah, we don't need to be golf necessarily, but is dressing nice going to push anybody away from wanting to buy your tour series disc or watch disc golf? No, it's not. It's if any like, and if it does, then like I don't know that we want that person to be
Hmm.
necessarily a fan of ours. Whereas like I think if you do take it on the other side a little bit too casual, like there is going to be a chunk of the population who might see disc golf for the first time and say, oh, those, like whereas you see a whole card, everyone's dressed professionally. They're dressed like Ezra Aderhold, they're
Hmm.
dressed like some of these guys who take care of their look, who tuck their shirt in, and do all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. See a full card of guys like that. It's like, oh man, like this. I definitely, I got a little more piqued interest for it, and yeah,
It
I
looks like
just
a finished
always,
product, right? Because
yeah,
the coverage is getting better, commentary is getting better, courses and infrastructure and implementation of the events is getting better. So there's definitely a place for personal style still. Like you can
yeah,
still be relaxed, but there's also that sort of level of kind of self pride and
yeah. Especially when you're on the
presentation.
course.
Correct. Yeah.
During tournaments, and we're getting to the point now where even we're starting to have like that final day of practice. They're allowing fans to come watch and get
Hmm.
signatures, and like I think anytime you're on the course in an official capacity on the pro tour, I think you should be dressed to your nines. And I think that I feel like my professionalism in terms of how I present myself alone has created a lot of opportunities for me. Like, like I don't know that GK would have reached out to me 2 years ago and say, "Hey, you want to do these course previews for us?" If I wasn't on the course every time they were out trying to grab players looking
Hmm.
professional, ready to do what they wanted. And
Hmm.
so I think, and as the game is getting more and more cutthroat towards the top, now there's a lot of really good players in between 1030, 1010 rated.
Hmm.
And if you're not doing the stuff media wise to put yourself out there, you're not showing a company that, hey, if you sponsor me, not only am I going to be playing these tournaments, but I'm going to be trying to promote your discs, not just because my contract tells me I have to do it twice a week, but you know what? I'm going to do it 4 or 5 times a week because I like it and I want to sell the stuff and I want to not only grow my brand, but the others. And so I think
Well,
it's
it's still in
important
your
for
best
every
interest
player
to
to do.
connect with as
Yeah,
many fans as possible and move as much plastic as you can as possible, right?
absolutely. And if you
Yeah.
have the right partnership, like you can grow yourself at the same time as you grow somebody else. And then, with the collaboration feature on Instagram, an easy way to share each other's stuff, it's a no-brainer to really try to do as much as you can in the media sphere. I don't think there's never too much media. People might sift through and find the ones they like, but eventually if you're consistent with it, you're going to hit that algorithm and people are going to
Hmm.
find you. And if you do enough of it, and they're going to find something they like about you.
Tell me what you like about the new course layout there in Austin at Roy G. We're just going to shift gears here a little bit before we wrap things up. Texas Classic, Roy G.
Yeah, Roy is one of the most well-known courses in Texas. It's one that a lot of the touring pros who've come through, especially in the past on the old layout, everyone raves about it. I think the old layout to me was premier disc golf, tailor-made, ready for the pro tour right now. We had that bridge issue between 18 and 1 that always kind of made it not
Hmm.
realistic, unfortunately. And I don't know, the old Roy G really shaped me as a player. I got to a point where I was getting a lot better. I was starting to get into the upper 900 ratings, getting close to that 1,000 mark, and I feel like I was kind of starting to shred a lot of the courses around Austin, Circle C, Met Center, all the ones where I could kind of pick my high hyzer lines, throw forehand,
Hmm.
backhand. But the way Roy G made me throw straight, control my body, control my angle, try to play those long fairway shots. There's about a month um, where I was at that point where I was like, man, why can't I play Roy G the way I'm playing these other courses?
Hmm.
And I had a tournament leading up about a month out, and I was like, I'm literally going to play only Roy G until this tournament because I felt like I would go there and it felt like I was in Mirkwood. There was like a fog, I couldn't really see as far as I should. I just
Hmm.
couldn't create that positivity that I needed, and like I forced myself to learn Roy, and it made me it made me such a better backhand thrower. And I think the new Roy to me is better for the Austin disc golf scene as a whole.
Okay.
I think it has better variety. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit more manageable. There's some more scoring opportunities for the masses.
Hmm.
I'm always going to miss the old one. It was better for my game in terms of just forcing me to play elite shots to score birdies. Um, and it was kind of repetitive in terms of its straightness. But to me, like that's if you can master straight, that's the hardest part of the game. So I like that about it. And there was little variance to the straight shots where it's not just the same shot over and over. Whereas now it's a pretty forehand friendly layout. There's a lot of the
Hmm.
new holes have a very forehand friendliness to them. It still has 9 of the originals, 9 of the new ones, so it's still a great mix. And I'd argue it's still the best course in Austin right now. I did get to play the new Sprinkle Valley,
That
which
was my
Vince
follow-up
putting in, and
question
that
is, what do you
that's
think
good.
about that?
I think as of right now, it's playing. It just got cut, so it needs, there's big pieces of tree-sized mulch in the middle that over time, like that stuff will kind of
Hmm.
clear out, and the grass will grow.
Hmm.
I think if they keep expanding it, keep adding, if they get to the point where they have 2, 3, 4 tee pads on each hole, from the
Mm-hmm.
beginner to the most difficult, then I think it could be that premier course in Austin. And I see the bones. It's definitely there.
Incredible amount of work done there in a short amount of time, and not easy to deal with terrain. So
Yeah,
pretty
for
impressive
sure.
stuff.
But it sets up well, yeah. And I played that for day 7 of Vlogmas, so I'll be dropping tomorrow actually. So
Ooh,
you'll be able to check it out yourself.
that's a must watch.
Yeah.
All right, Connor, I know you're a busy guy, so I don't want to keep you too long. Anything you want to mention before we let you go?
No, I just want to thank you guys over at OTB. Thank you, Greg, for always really feeding me that positivity. I always tell people, like, no matter how good you are as an athlete or as a player, unless you just go full lone wolf dark mode where you're just kind of not a human in a way, you need
Mm-hmm.
people in your corner. You need a village who's willing to back you and do little things that make you feel loved and supported and valued. And you guys over at OTB have always provided that for me. Y'all have never, even every time I come to Danny with, hey Danny, I got this new partnership that I want to
Mm-hmm.
try to see if I see how that works out for me. As well as with OTB, he's always been extremely gracious, and he wants the best for me, and I know that, and that is just because of that. I don't see myself ever leaving my OTB partnership. To me, it's a lifelong family thing, and I really love being there.
Well, we like to hear that, and we're happy that you're out there
I'm getting
represent.
emotional over here thinking
You're
about it,
you-
man. You guys,
you're
you
out
guys are
there. You're
family.
out there. You're out there repping, baby. And now we got to do some Connor O'Reilly OTB on some Lone Star. I love it.
Yeah, actually, one last little. I did. It's not officially inked yet, but I think Gorilla Disc Golf will be kind of providing some jerseys for me this season. And I was looking through the
Okay,
catalog last night. I found a pretty good purple option that I was thinking maybe we could stock at OTB, get a couple of those for the people. So we got a
got to have that
purple
purple.
Gorilla OTB Connor collab going. I think, yeah, I'm excited to have some jersey options because I've never really had that. I
Mhm.
kind of had one jersey thing, but the quality wasn't exactly what I was looking for.
You know he
So I
likes
think
the
these will
finest. He
be
likes the finest materials.
these will be. I think these will be nice to be able to give that to the people. So yeah, just and I'm also kind of right now on. I've been reaching out to some bag manufacturers, just kind of asking, if anyone wants me to carry their bag and
Mhm.
seeing how much if they're willing to do like a couple, whether it's just a however
Oh,
many
there
I
we
can
go.
sell of a certain bag color. So I think yeah, I got some stuff lined up. I'm trying to sort out on that front too.
Very nice. Well, it's good to hear. It's exciting news. Again, congratulations on the new sponsorship. 2024 is going to be a great one, and we're looking forward to see what you do, Connor.
It's been a pleasure, Greg. I appreciate you thinking of me and having me on.
All right, give my love to Megan and Hetchy, and we will
Will
see
do.
you down the road, my guy.
All right, brother. Love you, man.
All right, peace. All right, you've been tuned in to Morning Round. We're very happy to have Connor O'Reilly. Sounds like it's going to be a big 2024, and we would expect nothing less. Stanley, thank you for operating the ones and twos, and we will catch you next time. Peace.